aware to the best of our ability in every single way possible, whether it be direct mail, social media, whatever it's going to take, we are going to do it to warn them about what's coming. Now, Doug, the Abraham Accords, that's what we're talking about with Trump's peace plan. That's part of that.
Right.
Are we saying that the Abraham Accords is the peace plan that the Bible prophesied about in Daniel 9, that covenant?
It isn't in and of itself. Now, it could be pieces of that, but the main factor that's got to be there is this agreement between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Because those two peoples, Vince, you know that they both claim that land is theirs. Part of that covenant is going to be the covenant that is Israel's right to exist in the land. So when God told Abraham that they would have the land from the river in Egypt to the great river Euphrates, that's this disputed area, or not disputed area, but that's Israel. That's where Israel's supposed to be. Well, now modern day Israel is a lot smaller in that area. So what this is going to be about is Israel's right to exist in that area, to have Jerusalem as their capital, but also the Palestinians want Jerusalem as their capital. And we know that that's what the Battle of Armageddon will be over at the end when Jesus comes back, because Scripture tells us in Zechariah chapter 14, 1 and 2, that that's where the battle happens, and half of the city will fall at that point. So we know Israel controls Jerusalem all the way up to the Battle of Armageddon, and then they'll lose half of the city. Well, that's what the Palestinians want right now. They want half of Jerusalem as their capital, and we don't see that happening with this agreement.
So that covenant in Daniel 9 has not occurred yet.
Right.
Which means the final 7 years has not begun yet.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about the Abraham Accords and the peace plan that Trump and Kushner presented. That's not the peace plan. Well, first of all, it was never agreed to. That specific peace plan was never agreed to.
Yeah.
But the Abraham Accords portions, that's not the final 7 years, the beginning of the final 7 years, like prophesied in Daniel.
That did not start the final 7 years. However, it can still be part of that, because remember, he makes a covenant with many for 1/7. So many people were involved in this. So could that be part of it? Yeah, but it's not there yet. It has to be the Palestinians and the Israelis making this agreement. Israel has to be given permission to build her temple, and they have to share that temple mount. So all those things are talked about in that accord, but the Palestinians and the Israelis are the key factor to that starting the final 7 years.
Well, if nothing else, it's a good launching pad for the future peace plan that will occur.
Absolutely.
Great documentation there that's very helpful for all sides. We've seen how many people have signed into this Abraham Accords thing, how many people are on board with what Trump and Kushner did and the whole team there.
Right.
And so we see it forming, and it's getting closer, and we see the red heifers that are nearing the appropriate age in Jerusalem, and we see all these things happening. It's like we can just talk about peace and get excited, but when we start looking at all the different factors, it's like, hey, are we in the end time?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why we're motivated to tell people, you know, you need to be born again. You need to be growing in discipleship. You need to be plugged in a local church. All these things are true. You need to be telling your friends and family about what's happening in the world and tell them about Jesus and all this stuff, because the end time is now. We're